Good evening, and welcome to Creative Broadcasting, the station of unlimited possibilities. Presents Creating Your Seat at the Table with your host, Ashley Little, as she welcomes her guest to the table.
Welcome to Creating Your Seat at the Table. I am your host, Ashley Little. A little bit about myself: corporate professional by day, entrepreneur by night, four-time best-selling author, CEO and founder of Ashley Little Enterprises, LLC, owner and creator of Creative Broadcasting, and co-founder and owner of Talk Radio and TV Network, LLP. Tonight, we have an amazing special VIP guest by the name of Brittany Cole. A little bit about her. Every experience is an opportunity for continuous improvement. Brittany lives by this motto as a speaker, career coach, and consultant that is passionate about equipping women and millennial professionals of color to thrive in the workplace. As a pharmaceutical sales and marketing leader with a proven track record of career success, Brittany has experienced how intentional development of your leadership skills, personal brand, and executive presence accelerates career achievements and business results. In addition to her corporate successes, Brittany has built a leadership development consulting business where she is partnered with retail brands, corporate organizations, colleges, and churches to help leaders with personal branding, resilience, communication skills, and executive presence. She is currently in the midst of a rebrand from Style by Britt to Career Thrivers Consulting, helping organizations develop, retain, and promote diverse millennial talent. Brittany blends her corporate and entrepreneurial work life with traveling and enjoying her hometown of Nashville, Tennessee with her husband, Joseph. When they aren't catching a concert or traveling with family, Brittany is completing her first book set to launch in November of 2019. If you're looking to bring a speaker to your organization that can engage and empower your audience with dynamic energy and polished execution, then you are in the right place. So please visit her website at www.stylebybrit.com and click on the speaking tab to learn more about how to book her. So welcome to the table.
Thank you so much, Ashley. I'm really, really excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm excited to interview you tonight for you to share your wisdom and knowledge. So I know my listeners have heard your amazing bio, so please tell us more about your entrepreneur journey.
Absolutely, yes. So again, thank you for having me. I started my entrepreneurship journey probably as most people start out as kind of what we call, side hustling. So I actually have a corporate background in sales and marketing, was doing that work, was really in the sales space, pharmaceutical sales, when I started Style by Britt. And I originally started out doing image consulting. I really was looking to help the everyday woman show up in a more confident way and really look like where she wanted to be. One of the things that I quickly noticed with doing that work, I would be, either personal styling or personal shopping for a client, and we would be, at her home or in a fitting room at a mall, and the conversations would quickly turn from what she was wearing to how she could really level up her career. So it would turn to, advice on communication or, hey, I'm getting promoted. What do you think about this? Would you take a look at my resume? And so I quickly started to make a pivot and really focus on more of the comprehensive executive presence of diverse talent in the workplace. So not only helping you level up your look, but also helping you level up your leadership. And so I made that pivot with Style by Britt in really the back end of 2017. And since then, I have absolutely loved it. I've been doing speaking. I do one-on-one coaching. And then I also do some group coaching to really, really help millennial professionals and women really level up their personal brand. And so I've been doing that work as a side hustle for the last almost 5 years. And so I'm really, really excited to be a month into full-time entrepreneurship. So I made that leap and looking forward to all that's in store.
I love it. And I love how, like you stated, you were talking about your journey and how it started. You were styling clients, and then you did a pivot, right? And it was like, okay, I have some more talents here, right? They're actually asking me how to get promoted, so it just opened up more doors, correct?
Absolutely. And I would say, that's been one of my big learnings just in this entrepreneurship world. It's like you have to be willing to what I call unlearn and relearn, right? And so many times we think that because we're in a certain lane or we're in a certain space that we're stuck there and we have to stay there. And that's not the case. I mean, your life is yours to be the architect of your own destiny, to really create what you want to be and how you want to live. And so, always take advantage of those opportunities to say, okay, I see something is going maybe a little bit different, or maybe there's an opportunity over here, and if my strengths align with that, and if that's really speaking to me, then perhaps, that's an opportunity for me to relearn a new area or to pivot in a way that will help to really accelerate whatever it is you're trying to do, and it's definitely helped to accelerate my business.
I love that, and I know you have a passion for equipping women and millennial professionals of color to thrive in the workplace. So would you please tell us more about that and some of the different strategies that you use to help our women of color that are mainly millennials?
Yes. So there are two really startling statistics that I think really speak to the need for this work, and not just work that I'll be doing and my team as we're rebranding, but work that I would absolutely love to collaborate with, other entrepreneurs and small business owners to do. And so one is that 55% of millennials, according to some Gallup research, are not engaged at work. So meaning like they just kind of go, and they're really robotic in nature, not really engaged at all in the work that they're doing. Oftentimes that is what I see in my clients, is that millennials feel like they're underutilized in the workplace, that there are strengths and expertise that they have that is not being tapped into in their day job. Thus, you have so many millennials with side hustles or as a way to almost have a creative outlet to really be able to be maximized. So you have this statistics from Gallup research around millennials not being engaged in the workplace, and then you have this statistic around, and I'll primarily focus on women here, and I love your theme of, creating seats at the table. But Glassdoor did some research around women in the workplace, and only 5% of Fortune 500 companies have African-American women CEOs, and I think that exact statistic is around 2%. So you see oftentimes from a professional standpoint, particularly in corporate America, where as teams get larger and as, professionals move up the ranks, you see less diversity. You may see diversity at your entry-level positions, but then when you get into management, senior-level management, and especially in the C-suite, you see very few African Americans, particularly African American women. And so one of the things that I love helping clients to recognize is that, advancing in your career is only 10% of performance, or performance is only 10% of that, what advances you in your career. So I think a lot of the times, as millennial talent, especially as Black women, we think, let me work hard. Like, let me prove that, I'm meant to be here, that I, have a right to have this seat at the table. And so let me really work hard. And that's really not how, career advancement takes place. It really, the other 90% of career advancement is really about image and exposure. So it's this executive presence that I like teaching on that's really a combination of a few things. It's a combination of your personal brand. It's a combination of your communication. It's a combination of your emotional intelligence, and really being intentional and strategic about cultivating what I like to call strategic connections, not just networking, but really being intentional about who you're connecting with so that you can make those not just steps up the ladder, but those leaps in your career. And so that's what I absolutely love, whether it's one-on-one coaching, whether it's speaking to an audience of, professionals or even students, or if it's, group coaching or my courses. I love really helping women and millennial professionals of color level up in the workplace.
And that's so important. You touched on a lot of different nuggets that are so important in corporate America. And, I mean, just in general, too. But emotional intelligence, that is key, right? Mm-hmm. That is one of the major keys, that emotional intelligence and just being able to, because I think, like you said, it's not just about a promotion. It's about those relationships you build, too, those authentic relationships, and actually getting into the right rooms and getting that right exposure and making sure you're getting what you desire in order to help you get to that next level. Like, don't wait till they come to you. Go to them, right? So could you talk more about that?
Absolutely, because chances are they're not going to come to you, right? I think that's the part that we don't get. We're thinking that, especially oftentimes millennial professionals are thinking that, if I do the work, if I work hard, my work will get noticed. And that's just not the way that career advancement really works. It really is. So there's a performance kind of management guru that talks about the PIE, and PIE being these three elements of career success or career advancement. And so he really explored this aspect of performance, image, and exposure, and that's where I get that statistic from. His name is Harvey Coleman, but he did this research and found out that only 10% of career progression is due to performance. So you can work hard, you can be the best at what you do in your department, at your organization, but if you're not doing the other two pieces, which is image and getting that exposure, then you're going to be less likely to advance and progress in your career and make what you want to make and have the responsibilities that you want to have.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with everything that you're saying. And I'm loving the fact that you're actually, like you said, you went from Style by Britt to Career Thrivers Consulting. So tell us more about your services and how listeners can, purchase your services and support your amazing business, because I'm loving what you're doing, because this is definitely needed, right? Because I think people look at millennials like they feel entitled, but I don't think that's it. I just think, like you said, they want more creativity. They want to be able to grow, and sometimes, they don't express it always the right way, right? So I don't think it's that people that they feel entitled, because I've heard that too more than once.
Mm-hmm. So. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think, the millennial generation, works just as hard and oftentimes wants the same things as the baby boomer generation.
Right.
It's the millennials that oftentimes you'll see with 2 and 3 jobs, that, work a 9 to 6 and then go home and will put, 3 to 4 hours into a side hustle. So, I don't think that there's this thought necessarily that, the millennial generation is entitled, because millennials work just as hard as any other generation. Right. It's really about, cultivating that ambition that I've found especially with my one-on-one clients, because you do have that aspect of, especially when you're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, you have that experience of having a, let's just say Black millennial woman that is working in a very conservative, predominantly white organization. So she shows up as the youngest and the only. So she's already coming in having to, one, be emotionally intelligent enough to recognize how to connect with a group of people that on the outside she has nothing in common with. And so it's really about providing those, really what I like to call soft skills, which oftentimes really make up the bulk of your career advancement, to that kind of talent, so that she's able to maneuver, and help to create her seat at the table. And so I absolutely love, again, the name of your show, because the purpose with Career Thrivers, and right now all of my information is at stylebybritt.com. You can go to careerthrivers.com, though, to sign up on our list to be the first to know when the site launches live and everything is all set and ready to go. But our purpose is really, really to help to develop leaders for inclusive seats at the table. So that is the work that we'll be committed to, really in 2 lanes. So the bulk of the work that I'm doing right now is directly with women and working millennial professionals. So that's through my coaching programs or through an opportunity to come speak to that particular target. The other phase of the work we'll be doing with Career Thrivers will be the corporate consulting. So really partnering as a strategic partner with organizations, corporations, even non-for-profit organizations, to really help them come up with strategies to develop, retain, and to promote millennial talent. So it'll be really a 2-part focus, because we really have this vision of really creating targeted leadership development curriculum that really helps to foster this inclusive leadership at all levels of organizations. Because what I've often found in my own personal career, and I find oftentimes with clients, is that there's a wealth of leadership development material that's out there, and it's all wonderful. Like, I can, go to my bookshelf right now, and I have at least 5 books written by John C. Maxwell, and they have all helped me in my career. However, I've oftentimes experienced, though, that there's an element of the material that's missing, because it doesn't speak to the nuance of being a Black woman in corporate America. And so I'll never forget the advice that I got from a mentor one time. and my former organization about getting to know my new direct manager. So he says, well, why don't you just, offer, let's call him James, to protect privacy. He's like, why don't you just offer James an opportunity to, maybe grab dinner with you. Maybe you just let him know, like, hey, I would really love to connect with you maybe after work so we, have a little bit more time. And, you can, offer to pay for his meal and you all just go out and just have dinner outside of the office just as a way to kind of get to know each other better and to really kind of get on the right footing. And I'm listening to him give me this advice. Meanwhile, I'm thinking about the fact that, one, I'm a woman, and two, I'm a black woman, and at that time I was a 20-something-year-old woman, and my hiring manager was a 50-year-old white man. So it was like he was completely oblivious to those elements because he was coming from the perspective of a white male. So, for him it would be fine, to reach out to James and say, hey, let's go out to dinner and I'm, willing to pay for your dinner and let's, get to know one another better. But the nuances of me doing that were much different. And not just me, but him being comfortable with me even making that ask is much different. So I just share that, story just to say that I think really making sure that there is targeted leadership development for women and millennial professionals is really what we want to provide with Career Thrivers and a community to be able to help have that iron sharpening of iron for millennial talent.
And like I said, I love that. I just love everything that you're doing, right? I love everything that you're doing because it's needed and you're closing the gap, right? You're creating the space, right, to give millennials a voice, definitely in the workplace and in business too, in general. So I'm loving it. And which is why, I want to know your thoughts more on what are some of the benefits that attract millennials when looking for a career. So what are some of the benefits that you think they're looking for when they're looking for a career?
Yeah, that's great. A great question. I think one of the main things, and it makes me laugh a little bit because I see it more so in companies that are really strategic, but millennials really want to have a sense of impact and a sense of purpose in the work. So, millennials aren't just satisfied with, I'm at a job and I'm making a good salary and, I have good benefits and a good 401k. Like, millennials really want to know, is the work that I'm doing having a greater impact or greater meaning or greater purpose? And so what you'll start to see with organizations that are smart is that they start to infuse this language of purpose and impact and mission and values. And what a lot of really conservative organizations, are transitioning into right now when you talk about, the future of work is that the values have always been there, right? But they've just been that. They've just been there. They haven't been a part of the fabric of the culture of the company. And so you're seeing organizations now being really more intentional about infusing the language of value and the language of purpose into the fabric of the culture in the everyday conversations of employees at their organizations, because they recognize that that's what is attracting, and not just attracting, but really retaining millennial talent. I think the other thing that you'll notice just from like an everyday perspective is this idea of feedback. So again, and it goes back to this overarching desire to, do work that's purposeful and meaningful and having impact in that work as a way to be fulfilled with what you're doing. And so traditionally, most organizations will have a year-end review. At best, maybe a mid-year review. So there are two opportunities that are set aside for you to get a deep dive into the thought process of your direct hiring manager on the work that you're doing. And for millennials, that's not enough, right? Because millennials really want that feedback to be able to understand, hey, I'm working 40, 50, sometimes 60 hours a week, and I want to check in and make sure that this work is not just valuable, but that am I on the right page? Do I need to tweak anything? Like, millennials really want that feedback. And so you're seeing organizations be more thoughtful around, one, their mid and year-end review processes, period, but then also infusing more frequent touch points so that millennials really have that opportunity to check in and get that feedback and tweak and make those improvements.
Because, when they're not getting those things, like you said, the impact, and if it's not purposeful and meaningful for them, which is why so many millennials, and I think it's a good percentage, and I'm sure you probably know the exact number, are leaving to go to full-time entrepreneurship for the creativity, for to be able to build their own because they're just not happy, or it's just they don't find that the impact is there, or it's purposeful, right? They're burnt out, or they just don't feel appreciated. So could you talk more about that?
Yes, absolutely. And I'll say, and I have to say this because I try to really kind of have some balance and also boundaries in this conversation around, full-time, more corporate gig versus side hustle transitioning into a full-time job. I know that there is value in the workplace experience of a millennial as an employee, period. And I say that because I think so often you see millennials that I think leave too soon, right? You jump too soon because, the talent isn't happy or they're not fulfilled or what have you. And those are very real experiences and real feelings to be able to navigate through and experiences. And I love doing that work, but I also like to caution millennials to say that, every experience, and I know you read this, but I literally live by this motto. Every experience that you are having in your corporate job is setting you up and preparing you for your next level opportunity. If you extract the lesson from it and really think through the mindset of continuous improvement, even if you're working for a boss that you don't like, because I know just in my own personal career, I've had, I won't say some, but one in particular, very just bad boss. Let's just be frank about what it was. But that lesson probably taught me more than the best boss that I ever had about leading a team, because I was able to see what wasn't happening and what we weren't getting as a way for me to say, okay, when it's my opportunity to be in that spot, I know what good leadership looks like, and I also have an opportunity to coach up, which is a completely separate skill. So I say that to say, there's value in the work experiences that you're getting, even if you're not the most fulfilled in the work that you're doing. And then two, I tell clients this as well, be strategic about the experiences that you're going after. If you have in the back of your mind that at some point you want to transition from being, from what I like to say, earning money to making money. And they're not the same thing. When you're going into your 9 to 5, you are earning money. You're saying, I'm going to do this set amount of work for this set amount of hours or time or projects or whatever your responsibilities are, and that is going to earn me this check that comes in consistently every 2 weeks or however frequently you get paid. When you jump into entrepreneurship, you got to start making money. There's not that automatic cycle there. So, I say that to say I think when you are earning money and if you want to transition to making money, be strategic about the skills that you need to develop to be able to accelerate your path to making money, faster, right? So if you know that, you aren't great with, marketing or with sales, seek out that experience in your job and utilize your 9 to 5 as the training ground for your business, because at the end of the day, whether you're working for a non-for-profit or for-profit, you're working for a business. So there's something that you can learn while you're there that you can then leverage, when it's time for you to leave. And so I just like to caution that and say that, especially when we're talking about, millennials and having side hustles and making that leap, I think that there is room for what I like to talk about, entrepreneurship and really being intentional around getting those experiences that you want to get you where you want to be.
And I agree, because I'm a big believer in, taking what you learn in the boardroom and learn how they're building their $1 million business and go home and build yours, right? So just realize that, because having a 9 to 5, that's not a bad thing. You use it to your advantage,
Right.
And that's what I would tell anybody. So learn that and learn what they're doing and build yours. And also calculated risk, as you were just talking about, taking those calculated risks.
Right.
I'm a risk taker all day, but just make sure they're calculated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, I could not agree more. And even when you're going, after, job promotions, I share sometimes even with my corporate experience, like I spent about almost 10 years in sales. So, I laughingly say, like, I'm a sales girl. Like, I love sales. Most of my professional career has been in that field. Well, I wanted to get marketing experience, and I didn't have a traditional marketing background. And so for me, when I was with my corporate organization, I saw an opportunity for me to make the transition from sales to marketing. One, because I just really had a genuine passion and interest in it once I became more exposed to the work. But then two, once I got in the role, and I happened to be in like a digital consumer brand management role, I quickly saw like, oh my goodness, like I'm learning so much that I can leverage in my business. Like I literally spent 1 week in Mountain View at Google, and there was just so much, obviously, that I was applying to my day job, my corporate brand management job, but there was so much, I would say more even, that I was thinking about and being able to sift through and apply to my business. And so, yes, definitely be strategic about those experiences and really leverage those if you want to eventually make that jump into entrepreneurship.
I definitely agree. Amazing nuggets that you're sharing with the audience. So I've written and did some research, and I saw in Forbes, and I'm sure you have seen this too, that 80% of millennials say personal growth is the most essential quality of a company's culture, right? The personal growth, as we've been talking about, right? And the culture is so important because if the culture is not right, it can affect a lot of things. Because I believe that people don't leave the job. I believe they leave the boss and how they're treated, the company.
Yes.
I don't think I think it's all about that leadership because everything rolls down from there. So what are your thoughts on that?
I absolutely agree, and I definitely know the article that you're referencing because it caught my eye. Actually, I think late last month it came out, but it caught my eye last week, and it was really around almost cautioning leaders to make time for personal development. And I know that that's so important because I truly believe that when you step foot into the workplace at your organization, you are bringing every experience that is a part of you with you. So you are bringing all of the personal facets of who you are, the fact that you're a mom or a wife, or you may be grieving the loss of someone or something, or your background, your faith, like all of that comes with you, and it becomes a part of the experience and really the value that you're bringing to the table. Now, you learn to compartmentalize aspects of that, but all of it is there. And so I think when you think about what so many people talk about, which is, bringing your authentic self to work, you're not just bringing your professional authentic self to work, but you're also bringing your personal self to work as well. And so I definitely believe, especially when it comes to, leadership development, that people leaders have to do a better job, and especially with the millennial generation, of infusing that personal development into those coaching conversations, into even your, check-ins on a regular basis, because it's all a part of who that individual is, and it's a part of how they show up in the workplace. Like I can remember, going through a very rough patch in my professional and personal life, or in my professional life because of my personal life. So I was in 2014, so I was maybe 6 weeks out from getting married, and I had gotten at that time what I thought was going to be my dream job, a promotion to relocate from Chattanooga to New York in 2014 to do brand management. And I was like so excited, like, yes, let's do this. Like I was even talking to my wedding planner, like, hey, we're going to change the theme of our cocktail hour, make it a New York theme. I'm like, we are going to New York. I'm like all in. Meanwhile, my husband gets accepted to Emory's business school. So I'm like, oh, well, okay, rerouting. So long story short, I ended up having to turn down that job offer. And when I tell you that personal decision had so much weight on my professional experience for years with an S, because all of that was happening at my same organization. So it wasn't like I turned down a job, at an organization down the road, but I had turned down a really, really big job, and plus you add in the factors of me being a black woman, and it's like, well, wait a minute,
right.
We offered you a job on the first time, you got it, and what you mean you're not coming? Like, make it work, get up here. And I was like, no, like family over career actually means family over career. It's not just talk. Like, I can't make this happen right now for personal reasons. And it was the people that gave me the space and the grace to be able to talk through that and share that and really understand that my personal life wasn't aligning with my professional life. And so if you want me to show up and be, as effective as I can while I'm at work, I need you to understand why I made this decision, but then I also need you to work with me as I'm going through this experience to hopefully get this professional experience again down the road. And I ended up being able to do that. But I'll tell you, Ashley, there were so many people that just did not understand. One particular conversation I'll never forget, this man told me I had committed career suicide. He was like, career at this organization is over with. So, girl, it was a whole thing. But I'm like, okay, this is about, my personal life, and I'm not going to sacrifice my personal life for professional promotion. I don't care how great it was. And, I'm a woman of faith, and I trust God with all of my heart. And he really, absolutely, positively, made a red carpet move for me when it was my time. I ended up getting a marketing gig, and we relocated full package to New York, had a fantastic, career there, and did a lot of really amazing things. But I think that organizations do have to understand that your personal development is a huge, huge part of how you show up and how you thrive in the workplace.
Yes, it is. And showing up, always showing up is key, right? That is key.
Yes.
And we have to remember that, too. Well, I just want to say, congratulations on your new book that's coming out in November of 2019. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Thank you.
Could you tell us a little bit about it? I know you can't tell us.
Of course. Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear you there. Yes, so I'm really excited. I am going to be sharing on the topic of how, personal life and personal development impacts professional. I'm going to be sharing about resilience. So really about how do you go through what I call good grief, whether that's, the loss of a loved one or the loss of a job opportunity. How do you navigate that space to get to a place of greater grace where you're able to show up and level up in life, both personally and professionally? And so I am really, really excited to share not only more about my story, but really what I believe will be a framework that will help people to really navigate through loss. Because I think so often we say, be resilient. And, being resilient is about, you're able to bounce back. And yes, something went wrong, but come on, girl, pick up and let's get going. And that's not necessarily realistic. It's not necessarily, how life works. And I think when we, put on the mask to save face and to, quote unquote, be strong through situations that are really, really hard, we not only do ourselves a disservice when you start thinking about, self-care, but we also do a disservice to other people because we don't give other people the mirror that they need to know that, oh, I see Brittany is, she's a dynamic professional. She's great at the work that she does, but she's also struggling with this. And I'm watching her be honest about where she is, but then also navigate through it. So then that helps me to be able to do it. So I think that, people need that, and I think people need really language to navigate through that, which is what I hope my book will share with people. And then I think that the support system for people who are navigating through good grief really will need some of the insights that I'll just be sharing about around, how do you really support someone that is dealing through loss. Just from my own personal experience with the loss of my mother, I've had experiences where I know people meant well, and because I have the knowledge that people meant well, I didn't take offense to what they said or what they did. But, people will say and do things, and you're like, what in the world were they thinking? Why would they make that comment? Why would they say that? And really, they have good intentions. They want to support you, but I think sometimes there's just that, lack of really knowing what to do or what to say. And so I want to be able to share insight from that perspective too around, how do you support somebody to be resilient when you know that they are navigating through loss. So, yep, really excited about that coming soon. So thank you.
Well, super congratulations on all of that, Brittany. That's amazing. And thank you for creating that space to share your story to be able to help somebody else, right? Because there's so many people going through loss and need that, and then the millennials in the workplace, and just being able to share the stories that will be able to change lives and help people that are going through to get through, and then to prevent people from going through some of the mistakes, there are some of the different situations that we've been through, right? Because I've been on a panel with you before, and I think I have my story I shared about corporate America, and you have your stories, right? And I think some of them were kind of similar. I remember.
Yes.
Yes. So I ask all of my guests this question, and I've pretty much, I've consistently been following you. I've definitely met you in person, and I know you're doing some great things, and you pretty much have built your own table. So how did you create your seat at the table?
Yes. So I created my seat at the table when I made the decision to lean into and to trust my gifts. So I think so often, because we are in the information age, we are always, oftentimes whether we recognize it and admit it or not, but really like looking at content through the lens of where we should be and what we should be doing. Like I call it, we should ourselves, especially as women. We'll get on social media, we'll scroll through and it's like, we're happy and we double tap, but also there's this element in your mind where you're like, oh, well, let me get on it. Let me put my phone down because I should be doing this or I should be doing that. And so I think that because of that, oftentimes it prevents us from really showing up the way that we're meant to show up and really leaning into, especially as believers, really leaning into our God-given gifts. My one of my God-given gifts is speaking. And so I, for a long time, was really trying to do all of these other things that are now and will continue to be branches on the tree, but they weren't the tree. So I'm out here trying to, have discourse and, do this styling over here and help this woman with her look over here. And it's like all of those things were not the tree. Like the tree, the foundation of who I am meant to be is tied to my voice. And I know that now. So now that's where I lean into. Like that is my primary focus. And then all of these other things are additions or branches on that tree that then open up opportunities for me to be requested to come to tables that I didn't even expect or even plan to be at. So I think that when we are very intentional about leading with our gifts, that just like the word says, that God will put you in rooms with phenomenal men and women that you don't have to chase down. Like you will literally attract the opportunity because you are living in your lane of grace, which is your gifts. And so that's really, I wish I had something like more business related to give you, but I don't. Like it has really been about, you know what, like I know this is what God has deposited in me, and I want to show up in this space and be true to this space. And I don't want to be lazy in the space. Like I want to continue to hone my skills. So, I'm a member of Toastmasters, and I do things to continue to develop the skill of speaking. But I know that speaking is a gift, and that gift will then open up doors for me to write a book, to start a company, to, have a podcast, to be on a podcast, to do all of these other things. But it's only when I am really true and committed to my gift that I'm able to create that seat and then be invited to other tables as well.
I love it. I just love everything that you said because it's so important. And your faith and having that faith is so important, right? Because we should be praying over our businesses and our career and our family and everything in our lives. I'm a big, believer in that. So
yes,
believe in God as well, and He's part of everything. So I agree. So
absolutely.
We all have a process, right? And pain is what helps us get to the next level. But a lot of us don't like to be uncomfortable. So what did failure teach you on your journey?
Wow. So I would say if I'm thinking about what I sometimes call in my talks my biggest career failure, which was tied to me not accepting that job offer, I would say that experience, and when I say that experience, I can qualify it a little bit, showing up in rooms where oftentimes I was the youngest and the only, and then knowing that there's conversation going on about me that wasn't accurate. About, why I didn't take this big job and what was she thinking and how could she being able to continue to show up in that kind of environment. The first thing it taught me was that I really had to be stronger in my faith to know and really believe what Romans 8:28 says, and that's that all things work together for good. So really believing and trusting God that experience was going to end up working out for my good, and it did. It did. So I think that was the first thing. It really taught me, I've got to be better at praying. I've got to be better at fasting. I've got to be better at spending time with God, because he was truly my strength during that time, and obviously still is today. I would say too that the second thing that it taught me was that, failures really teach you not only about you, but it teaches you and it reveals other people. So, I believe whenever you're going through, failure, change, challenge, transition, you get a front row seat to the intentions and motivations of the people that are a part of your life. And so, when I was going through that particular failure related to work, it exposed people that I thought were for me that weren't, and so I had to be grateful about that, because I'm like, oh my gosh, the people that showed up for me the most, 3 of them in particular, were people that before that experience, I had no idea that they were as for me as they were. But those were the people, because, when you go through failures, the masks come down, I shouldn't say that. I'll be more positive. I'll just say the true intentions of people are shown. And so I was able to really see, the people that were really in my core, circle of trust, if you will, particularly at work with that experience, and those people that were more, acquaintances or spectators, because although they were laughing in my face and saying congratulations and, oh my gosh, we had to stay in touch and all of this stuff, when I got the job, when I turned the job down, a lot of those same people were silent. So I would say that's the second thing that failure taught me. 1, really about my faith, and then 2, it really reveals who is really in your circle. And the last thing I'll say about failure is that it teaches you how to pivot and how to really show up for your next opportunity. I believe whenever there is a no, that no, rejection is really about repositioning. It's not about not getting something, but it's about being prepared for what's better down the road. So, that career failure or that, loss of an opportunity was less about, oh, I'm so down and I'm so sad and I'm so depressed that I'm not going to, be moving to New York in November of 2014. But it was more about, Brittany, what else do you need to do as far as doing the work and being prepared for the next time a marketing role comes around, so that you can be better prepared, so you can show up wiser, so you can show up sharper, and be ready to accelerate once that experience comes. So I'd say those are the 3 main things that failures taught me.
I love that, because that's so important, and we just have to know and learn to embrace adversity, right? When adversity comes, we know that it's a light in the tunnel. It's something bigger, right, that's going to happen. And I think a lot of us, when adversity comes, we get upset. We don't know how to handle it, but we should be embracing it. That's a good thing, because something big is about to happen. So I just think it took me a while to learn that. I'm not going to lie. It took me a while to learn that, but as you continue to grow and you learn that and you begin to embrace it, because, it is a light if you can pass the test.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So what else can we expect from Brittany the rest of 2019? You're knocking it out. We're in quarter 3. I know you got your new book coming out in probably quarter 4. So what else can we expect from you in 2019?
Yes, so a few things. So the first thing is definitely the launch of Career Thrivers. So if you're listening right now, head over to careerthrivers.com, and you can drop your email address and be the first to know when we launch. I'm really, really excited about that. You'll also be the first to know about our launch party event, which is happening in September. So we are busy planning our first event, and it's going to be such an awesome time. We've already got some great partners on board. So that is coming up. Definitely working on the book and then continuing to coach and put out content. So if you aren't following me, feel free to connect on all of the socials, and I'm really, really excited about Career Thrivers launching and really accelerating out the gate. I know that there is much work to do, but I'm definitely looking forward to all that's to come.
Well, super congratulations to you on all your success. And how can listeners purchase a ticket to the event? How can they go support it for the lunch party?
Awesome. Yes. So the best way to connect about the launch party is to go onto careerthrivers.com and then drop your email address, because as soon as we launch the site, it'll have information on the event. I will give your listeners a sneak peek and just let you know the date. So we're planning it for Saturday, September the 14th at 4 p.m. So please mark your calendars. That's Saturday, September the 14th at 4 p.m., and then we'll be sending out the rest of the details as soon as the site launches live. So head on over to careerthrivers.com and drop your email, and we will be sure you are in the know.
So please follow and support Brittany on her lunch and all the amazing things that she's done. She's definitely someone to know. So, Brittany, will you please let our listeners know how they can follow you on all social media platforms?
Absolutely. So I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn, and I know that's probably not the platform that people lead with, but I would say that if you are a business owner that wants to get into B2B contracting, you need to be on LinkedIn. So I'm on LinkedIn at Brittany Cole, that's 2 T's A-N-Y, and so you can find me there on LinkedIn. And then on Facebook and Instagram, I'm probably a little bit more consistent on my Instagram than my Facebook, but you can find me on both of those platforms at Style by Britt. It's STYLEBYBRITT, and then all of the information about my career coaching, speaking, there's a intro video to learn more about me, is at stylebybritt.com. So really excited to connect with you. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, shoot me a message, let me know that you checked out Ashley and I's conversation today, and I would love to learn more about you.
I love it. So please make sure you follow her and support her. So, Brittany, I just want to thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to come to the table today. It was an amazing interview, and I can't wait to invite you back to the table.
I would love that. Thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you for having me. We're out here creating these seats. I love the work that you're doing and making this space for women and folks like me. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
And thank you so much as well. And I'm loving everything that you're doing. And I wish you much success and many blessings and support.
Thank you.
So I would like to give a special thanks to Tammy Collins Marquis and John Schamberger. I would also like to give a special thanks to author Kimberly McLemore and my intern Sarah from Tennessee State University and my intern Savon from Virginia Commonwealth University. You all may follow me on Facebook at Ashley Little and on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Creating Your Seat at the Table, where Ashley speaks with corporate professionals, celebrities, entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers who are transitioning or have transitioned to entrepreneurship.